Good morning. It's Thursday, one day closer to Friday in the weekend. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne, bringing to you things you might not have heard, some things, a few things, about seven things to be exact, maybe a few extras. We caught the birthdays and the fact and the day of the day. Call that. And for this podcast, video thingamabobber jigger thing, we are going to provide for you those things I just told you. Some things that you might not have heard in the news coverage that passed in the last 30 hours or so. This is basically yesterday and early this morning. At 5 a.m. Central Time this morning, I hit a button, downloaded some data from Facebook and Twitter from our feeds, as if you will, and we're going to give you to you seven of the top 15 stories are in that range. We pulled about 33 stories in that range, 32 or 33. I don't know exactly of the day how it comes to it. Shifts based on the timeline, and we pulled the top 15 stories, looked at them, found stories that were basically a good narrative, things that you might not have heard or interesting to talk about, and of course try to cram them in into about 20 minutes of talk. We'll do that right about now, so get ready for that ride. We'll see how that works out. If you want more information about what goes on behind the scenes or sometimes in front of the scenes here at the Conversation Project, visit thisistheconversationproject.com. While you're there, you can check out links to more sponsors we have. We'll talk about one main sponsor today. So if you want to help keep things going, check out the sponsors. Also partnerships where you can directly give me cash, and I'm not going to fight you on that one bit. Let's get into the stories. We'll explain how the feeds work, how you can actually pick and choose or vote up the stories, if you will, towards the end of the podcast video thingamajigger. But first, let's talk about the number one story today, which was part of our tease from yesterday. And yes, she is an adult. She is not under conservatorship, but people are still a little worried. Britney Spears shares 12 new nudes on Instagram. Now fans are worried. Now fans are worried. Littlethings.com gives this one. This one turned out to be the biggest story in the range. The biggest story talked about inside of the conversation feeds with you. Biggest ones shared and engaged with. And so we're talking about it. Yesterday we did a teaser story where we said, we'll talk about this if you want to, and you guys wanted to. So let's go to this is basically how it presented at littlethings.com. What's the deal about Britney Spears? Well, all the free Brit people basically fought very hard to get her freed from her conservatorship. She'd been under a conservatorship that was controlled by her father for decades, essentially, and just been living a life, but living a very, very detailed and very, very controlled life, down to the fact that she couldn't have babies, she couldn't get married, she was kind of restricted about what she can do just in her personal life. And then the world shouted, "Free Britney! Don't leave her alone. Leave her be." And the world got what they wanted, and Britney got what she wanted. And now she's engaged to her boyfriend. She's probably going to have a baby. And now she's posting a lot of new pics on the Instagram, which people are thinking, we sort of fought for you to have your freedom to do stuff. And now you're just posting nudes on Instagram, which, yeah, you're free to do. But we kind of hoped wore peace or write an album or hang out with Taylor Swift or something like that. So some fans are a bit disturbed that Britney Spears may actually be a bit more disturbed than they thought by showing her newfound freedom in showing off a whole lot of freedom. This is something that will be a sort of a whisper and a nudge for a while in the story world, in the music world, and entertainment world. And we'll see whether people will feel sorry about the Free Britney movement and whether Britney will actually go under some sort of something. Probably not, because it's probably nothing all that serious. But you would think after all these years of being out of conservatorship, my commentary, exactly. And while we had a commentary yesterday saying, oh, as an adult, she can do what she wants to. That is true. But this is not proving to be sane adult stuff, when the whole point was they were saying she wasn't a sane adult to make her own decisions. And now what she's doing on Instagram is just putting a bunch of nudes and celebrating getting pregnant. That's all we got. That's all we could have got, a little more out of that. Let's go to the next story that we have on the listing. This story happens to be Al Jazeera reporter killed during Israeli raid on West Bank. BBC.com gave us this link to it, but this is one that is a story, the number 5 story of the top 15 for today. I'm going to pull this up and switch over so you can take a look at the reporter. This is Sharia Abdul Aqwa. I can't see because I'm not wearing my glasses today for some dumb reason. Who was essentially, her and her cohort were out there covering the Palestinian American war, the war out there essentially in Israel. dealing with the stuff going on there in Israel. And she was shot in the head during a defensive attack. I'll just call it defensive attack by the Israelis. Another reporter from another agency was injured as well, but she was literally shot dead in this attack while she's wearing a bulletproof vest that says press on it. Her cohort was basically, they had pictures of the aftermath of what happened afterwards. They showed that on many news stories, and it was just disturbing seeing this body lay there, and her cohort was just sort of there stunned, not knowing what exactly to do, because her partner was literally there dying on the street. She's Palestinian American. She's a correspondent for Al Jazeera, and she was covered raids by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank. Journalism is a unfortunately a job that people do die for, getting the news, getting stories, getting things out there. This is not a case where she was actually doing much to put her life out there in danger. This is one that should have been a fairly easy assignment. Stand out there, do a stand up, be done with. We will see whether there'll be some consequences from the Israelis who fired the shots or what happened in the melee. But this is one that we're definitely having some issues processing. So we're sending out thoughts and prayers to the families and the people who work with her on this one, as we look to see if there'll be some sort of resolution going forward. Carvana just laid off 205,000 workers and used Zoom to do it. Daily.com gave us this one. This is a story listed as 9 in engagement on the day. Yeah, you can go through. I got to pick this up for time, unfortunately. So you can go through this story right here and see how it worked. Carvana having some issues in the car selling business, because a lot of people having issues in the car selling business. There aren't many cars out there to buy, whether used or new. I know this firsthand because we've been working at my employer, working on getting some more vehicles for our school. And I had to go through the process for the first time all by myself, just buying a car. And it was a nightmare because there literally are no cars to get. This time we had a little bit better with a new car we purchased, but it was kind of like, hey, we need this. Do you have it? And they said no. And we just moved on to the next people. Went through about 3 different dealers before we got an actual good response, and went to a 4th dealer to actually get the vehicle we needed. The cars aren't out there. Because of that, you might think that there's plenty of cars out there because you're seeing commercials for Carvana all over the place. Here's a secret of those things. Car dealerships and many other type of business cannot lower their advertising budget, because if they do, you might forget about them and someone else will pay the extra money to take over that mind space. It's a concept essentially called branding the brain. If you keep putting out images of things out there, you will assume they are true. So if you keep putting out Kellogg's and Coca-Cola in commercials, you assume that they are out there selling lots of Coca-Cola and Kellogg's. They may not be, but you see so many commercials, you assume that, oh, they can afford the commercials, they're good. That's why a lot of car dealerships are all over the place, spending lots of money, and back in the day, doing lots of silly quirks, throwing out money to make sure that you saw and got their attention. Carvana doing the same thing, making sure that if you're thinking about getting a used car, you're going to go to Carvana and try them out. The problem is there's not a lot of used cars to do, so there's not a lot of people to actually employ. They laid off a whole bunch of people, and they did it like the other guy did, and did it on a Zoom call. Read the story, go deeper into it. It's more of a personal account. Things on daily dot come to essentially people basically Instagramming their lives and things like that. So you can go deeper into the story on that one. But right now, we see an economy that has near zero unemployment. But a lot of that is because the numbers are skewed and people just stop looking for jobs. We're not going to talk about that today. Next story we are going to talk about right here is this one. The iPhone could soon ditch the Lightning for USB-C. Gizmodo.com giving that one number 11, if that matters to you, out of 15 range this morning. And this is a simple story, very simple story. The European Union, which is forcing essentially all companies to come to a standard, they were the first to basically blow up the whole cell phone charger thing, and basically could go to some sort of standard, which turned into powered USB, USB Mini in most cases, now USB-C as the technology comes up. iPhone has been the proprietary of their own stuff forever since they started plugging things in. And now the current Lightning port, which is essentially the standard for iPhone devices, is about to be probably kicked because the European Union wants things to be universal. Now, there are other things that do get universal. Let me get rid of Maverick there. There are things universals like so many of Apple devices, such as the MacBooks, use USB-C for their charging, and MacBook Pro or iPad Pros as well use USB-C for charging. So why can't everything be USB-C? USB-C. So why can't they be? We'll find out if the European Union will push that on the Apples, and we'll see if everybody will have the same chargers going forward. Next stories are two. We have two we're going to cram in just for time. So I'm going to push them together because they are related in a sense. First one is Bitcoin investors are panicking as a controversial crypto experiment unravels, from CNBC.com with that one. And Bored Ape, once worth $350,000, sells for paltry $115. That's from knowyourmeme.com. Another Know Your Meme coming up in a second. Know Your Meme is picking up on some things pretty interestingly and popping up in our aggregator, which we'll have more of those coming up. This is dealing with the volatility of the crypto and also NFTs, which are tied a lot to cryptocurrency. Now, in the beginning, people thought you buy Bitcoin, it goes up, and make $1 million. Now people are realizing that it's based on some sort of economic factors and supply and demand, and of course demand is where it goes. So someone made all these Bored Ape NFTs, which really NFTs I don't understand them in the fact that I want to own art. I do get them for authenticity's sake and things like that, but as far as buying 800 different copies of a ape with different colors in it, so you say you have one of them was worth up to $350,000 that for some reason on the marketplace a few days ago only sold for $115,000. That tells you that the market for these NFTs is basically busting. Crypto also pretty bad. I tell you every time we have a crypto story how my crypto is essentially worthless. One, I've invested in 3 crypto coins for a while. One of them was Doge, which I've actually sold out at an early high, and then bought at a low, thinking it'll come back to mid range. Has not returned. Also, one is actual Bitcoin, which is not doing well at all. I also own some Ethereum, classic Ethereum, which is not doing great, but because I bought it at a fairly good low, it's still positive. However, the 3 combined is pretty much still negative. Bitcoin and all the cryptos are starting to come to a reckoning as people are realizing you can't actually spend it. You can't actually do much with it. It's an investment, and it's only worth something when you actually trade it in. That's the thing about stocks, thing about bonds, things about all those things. It has a value, it has a worth that's based off the perceived value of what people think you would buy it for or would pay for it. But you have to actually sell it to somebody to get that actual worth. So until you sell it, it's not real. It's an asset. But until you sell it, it's not actual cash. It's not actually worth something. Elon Musk may have $300 billion dollars worth of some sort of stock, but until he actually sells that stock, he doesn't have $300 billion. He has $300 billion net worth of stock, which can go up and down as it pleases. Let's go to the last 2 stories, and we'll look at these real quickly to keep things moving this morning. TikTok, 100 million ladybugs in Central Park ladybug raid, facing environmental lawsuit fled to Colombia. Sorry, can't read this morning. Knowyourmeme.com with that one. And Tinder bans Kickball Cupid for using dating app to find players. usatoday.com on those 2. Now, these are 2 that are sort of whimsical, although the first one is really kind of serious. But these are in the realm of the social media and stuff like that I figured that were just kind of too cute to get around. I could not get past the Kickball Cupid, so we had to get that in there. So we're going to get those in there. Let me real quick, we'll show you the Know Your Meme from this one. You want to maybe see this. A TikToker released 100 million ladybugs in Central Park, calling it a ladybug raid. She's facing an environmental lawsuit, as one would say. These are some pictures of what 100 million ladybugs looks like all over stuff. The guy has fled to Colombia last we know about, because he's facing this very serious charge. Check out the story, check out the pictures, check out the chaos that 100 million ladybugs can make in Central Park if you choose to toss them out there unbeknownst. Now, this one is a cute story. A Tinder user named Kickball Cupid, that's her username, has been kicked off the app, not for, being super sexy or being super provocative or being annoying. She's using Tinder to recruit players for her kickball teams. And that's it. She first got on there to just find some semblance of what this whole thing's all about, then realized, hey, maybe she can recruit some folks to play kickball. Maybe she can expand the kickball world using Tinder, using its power for good and not for sexy, sexy stuff. And that's where she's gone. That's what she's got to. So that's what you have. Check this one out too. This one is a really cute one. She's nothing serious happened to her other than not being able to use Tinder. I guess now it goes down to whatever the next app, maybe Match.com, can give her folks. Probably not. I think they're a bit more serious about their matching at Match.com. I think that's going to work out so well. Here's our teaser story for today, or technically for tomorrow. And this one, I could not get the ad out, so it's a little bit disturbing on that end. But here's a big time story, an actual important story that we may need to talk about tomorrow. If you choose to, we will throw this into the realm of what's going on. It has to be in the top 15, and we'll go for it. Finland's leaders announced support for NATO membership, moving nation close to joining alliance. Finland shares a very, very, very long border with the USSR, former USSR, that is Russia, is now trying to fast track its way into NATO, and NATO is more all about some fast tracking Finland in, saying that their former neutrality is not so good for them after what happened in Ukraine. Russia says there shall be consequences. And we see what's going to happen to that one. The biggest thing is how fast is fast track? How fast can the paperwork be done to get Finland into officially into NATO? We're going to see what that means, how that works. Excuse me, in the upcoming weeks, months, and whatever manner of years this could take. Nobody really knows how long it's going to take. It could, fast track this in 6 months, or who never knows. It could be a couple of years. We know the discussion with Ukraine is they weren't ready. Finland's like, we're ready, and NATO's like, okay, well, you're ready. And so we're going to see how that works on the fast track as Ukraine is basically backed away, or is trying to back away in their negotiations to get Russia out of its territory. We'll see if Finland's going to negotiate its way into NATO and what that means for future dealings. Now, we'll explain to you how this can be a story to talk about tomorrow. But first, we're going to talk about how you can help pay for all the fabulous news you're getting here at the Conversation Projects, things you might have heard. Stop by this website. This is theconversationproject.com/bear mattress. It's our website. It's our link to Bear Mattress, our affiliate link. And you can get the best sleep you've ever had immediately as soon as the box shows up at your door. Yes, a box with a mattress in it will show up at your door. You will bring it inside your house. You will open the box. The mattress will inflate, deflate, stretch out, turn into a mattress. It's magic. I don't know how it works, but you open the box and the mattress just shows up. And they're giving you a great deal in this mattress right now with the Memorial Day sale, with up to 30% off site-wide and free accessories for whatever your mattress you have. They have various different styles of mattress, hybrid mattresses, more traditional mattress, even though they do come inside of a box. And what they give you is a full year, 365 days to lay on that mattress, sleep and snore and drool and do everything you want to do. Let's not get too kinky though, on that mattress. And if you don't like that after day 364, day 365, they'll take it back. Here's the thing. You're not going to want them to take it back. You want to keep this mattress because you're going to fall in love with it on day 1, maybe day 5 if you're one of those people that are a bit difficult, but you're going to love this mattress and get the best sleep ever going forward. Stop by our website. This is theconversationproject.com/bear mattress. This is conversationproject.com/bear mattress. This is an affiliate link, so we do get a cut from bringing you into the store, but you're going to get a great deal on the best mattress you've ever owned from Bear Mattress. So check that out. Make sure you are ready for a great night's sleep. It is coming. It is coming. So our main website, as we said, is thisistheconversationproject.com. The details on great things on that website, including ways to find out about the sponsorships, more sponsors, also ways for how to join us in our partnership program, and just sort of details, the background, and some things we've done at the Conversation Project and its various names and its various conversational projects. Our feeds are on Facebook and Twitter. If you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, every 50 minutes we post a new news story, a link to an article. We want you to read it as you check your feeds. We want you to like it, love it, hate it, share it, check it out. The more engagement the story gets, the higher a score it gets. hits, obviously. At 5 in the morning Central Time, we pull the numbers and we put them into a spreadsheet that puts them into a ranked score. And we go through the top 15 stories and give you some of the best ones there in this hopefully short-ish type of recording. We're going over 20 minutes a day, so we're working on staying pithy, but that's it, just what happens. So follow us on Facebook at This Is a Conversation Project and Twitter th_conversation, and you and the algorithms can help us pick out what's going on in the news stories. Plus, our YouTube page is at thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube. We need more subscribers so that we can go ahead and get that custom name. Please, 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 please check it out, subscribe, and also hit notifications so that when this thing goes live about 5:50 in the morning every single weekday, you'll get notifications that we are live and you can check us out, or you can just watch us a few hours later. We don't care. The news is still good. The water cooler is still good for these stories because they are somewhat off the beaten path. Although, like the Finland story, if we talk about that one, it is big time news. Other things you might not have known, take to your water cooler and you can chat about it. Today, things include birthdays on May 12th for Ving Rhames, who's got the meats, he's got the voice, and he's got 63 years under his belt on today. Tony Hawk, who still looks like Tony Hawk, and people still say, hey, you look like Tony Hawk. And he goes, yeah, I do. He's 54 years old today, the skateboarding pioneer, still skateboarding, still making money off the skateboard games. And if you've not bought the repackaging of the old original Tony Hawk skateboard games on the video games, you should check them out. They're beautiful, they look great, and they play even better with the newer technology. Kim Fields from Living Singles, of course, coming way, way back to the Facts of Life and Different Strokes, turning 53 years old today. Today is also Eat a Radish Day. And I'm not going to say I'm going to eat a radish because I'm not, but it's a day to celebrate the magnificence of radishes. So if you got one, take one down, pass it around, eat a radish today, if that's what you feel. Also, going out the door, one more thing you might not have heard, 66% of people say their biggest fear is losing or being separated from their phone. And this occurs more for women than men. It didn't have the numbers from the women-men breakdown, but it says 66% of the people surveyed in the survey basically said they are afraid. It's not bears, it's not being hit by buses. They didn't even bring up public speaking. It was not having their phones. So there you go. If this is your fear, make sure you put one of those air tags on your phone and make sure your watch is set up for finding it, because phones get lost all the time. This has been Things You Might Have Heard for this day, Thursday, May the 12th, 2022. I am still Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you for being a part of the ride. Follow us on the feeds on Facebook and Twitter so that you can make sure that you are putting your voice in, your vote in, your thought process in to talk about the things that we're going to talk about in the next day or the previous day, however you want to see it. Time gets lost in these things. We're already working, like I said, new stories being posted every 50 minutes on our feeds, and we want you to check them out and help us vote up what needs to be voted up. In the meantime, also check out the main website for our sponsorships page, our partnerships page, and just things around the conversation world that we do. We're glad to have you great conversations from around the world, and we'll join you again, Lord willing, creek don't rise tomorrow, to do it one more time. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task. We need you around for all the great things that you are determined and destined to do. You are determined to do them. You are destined to do them. We want you to stick around and get them done. Don't let discouragement get you down. We got your back. We'll do this again tomorrow.